It seems like speculation around Cedar Point's top thrill dragster is at an all-time high. And what's not to love about that? Also, I'm going to share with you some other Cedar Point rumors that I'm hearing, so you definitely do not want to miss that. And I have been predicting that this would be Intamin and there would be a spike since September of last year. But am I still as confident as I am about Intamin being involved? Also, I'm going to share with you my thoughts on the speculated second top hat, and the track that is still attached to the original dragster is getting pressure washed and clean, and now the supports have either primer or paint on them. What is that all about, and what does that mean? And finally, will this new Frankenstein of a coaster be ready for opening day 2024? Because from what I'm hearing, this project is behind schedule. But first, something just for you, and that is, having a predictions channel is a ton of fun, and I love having a platform that we created for me to share them with you. However, I know going into it that not all of my predictions will come true, and that's just the reality of predictions. But with that being said, I have no problem accepting that I did not predict something right, and that seems to be the case with this blue Intamin track and orange supports that are laying in Intamin's fabrication plant. While it appears that this track is not for Cedar Point like I predicted, I am 95% sure that it's also not for Fast and Furious Drift Coaster over at Universal Studios Hollywood. Now that it's out of the way, let's talk Dragster and all the recent updates. One of the most speculated things at the moment is, will there be a second top hat? And while this idea is really cool and intriguing, I just do not see how it's possible, and honestly, I don't think it makes any sense at this point. And the main reason why is they've already completed construction for the footers for this element that's going to be for the extended dragster. And all signs are pointing to a giant spike. And if there was going to be a second top hat, then the footer pattern would definitely be different, and Cedar Point would most likely still be working on the footer construction. But it's been over a month now that Cedar Point even touched the spike area, so therefore the ride will be opening up with the spike and not a second top hat. And personally, I'm totally okay with that. I think the spike is going to be really cool, and I know not everyone's sold on the idea of having a spike, but honestly, I think it's going to be one of the highlights of the ride, and once you ride it, you're going to really appreciate it and enjoy the element. Next up, has my stance with Intamin changed? And again, I've been predicting now that Intamin will be involved with this project. And 9 months later, after that original claim, I'm still just as confident that Intamin is involved. And here is why. If this was Zamperla, then I really feel as if most of the supports, if not all, excluding the top hat, would have been removed and replaced with supports from Zamperla. But now, with the park adding primer or paint to the original supports, pressure washing the original track on the top hat, and if this project was really Zamperla, then I feel as if they would replace all the track on the top hat. Especially with the company debuting their new lightning trains, I just do not think it's the smartest thing for having these trains switch from Zamperla track to Intamin old 20-year-old track multiple times throughout the duration of the ride. However, with that being said, my source is still telling me it's Intamin, and I know there's other sources out there saying it's Zamperla. And while I am intrigued by the track getting relocated or taken away overseas, the original launch track for Dragster, while that remains a mystery, I am still confident that Dragster will be Intamin in 2024 and beyond. And about a month ago, Tony Clark passed out these awesome looking keychains at a coaster event at Cedar Point. And as you can see, it's red and dark gray, which many speculated the two top hats because how the C and P look on this magnet. The biggest takeaway from this is possibly the color scheme. Are we looking at a coaster with dark gray supports and bright red track? Because I really feel as if that would look awesome walking around the park and seeing Dragster instead of the giant yellow support structure, having it the dark gray with the bright red track. That would really pop and look really cool again in my opinion. But there is a chance that this is just primer being added to the supports, and Cedar Point might surprise us and paint the supports an entirely different color. Either way, it's definitely exciting to follow along because they're definitely working hard on this and pressure washing all the track on the original top hat, it appears. Which still surprises me that they're going to be using this 20-year-old plus old track on the tallest and fastest parts of the coaster. So that right there, I'm not an engineer by all means, but I just feel as if it'd be smarter if Cedar Point, for a long-term investment for this coaster and the longevity of its lifespan, to add brand new track for the sections of the layout where the coaster goes its fastest. So here's the deal on the other Cedar Point rumors, and that is, I am hearing that Snake River Expedition will not be around the park much longer. And yes, I am aware that this ride just opened up a few years ago, but you have to remember when the attraction first opened up this season, the park made some drastic changes to the attraction to really cut down on the budget for this particular ride. And when you pair that with the Forbidden Frontier attraction getting removed as well, you start to get curious as to what Cedar Point is up to. And in a recent video, I shared that Millennium Island would be converted into a new area of the park, basically connecting the Gemini Midway with the Frontier Trail. And the rumor that I'm hearing now is that is indeed going to happen, most likely in 2025 or 2026. So, will we see new rides or maybe even a roller coaster on Millennium Island? Let the speculation begin, because I really want to know your thoughts. Also, I noticed on Lake Erie Lifestyle's latest video of the drone construction of Dragster, when he flew over one of the maintenance facilities off of the peninsula for the park, you can clearly see there's more Dragster tracks just sitting there. Which makes you wonder why Cedar Point only sent a few of the track pieces overseas, whether that was to get retrofitted for the new launch or something entirely different. Why are these track pieces still here? Now here's just a wild thought, and just hear me out. What if Zamperla purchased the old Dragster launch track pieces to retrofit it for the new coaster opening up in Vancouver? Now, I'm just saying maybe it's a possibility, or maybe Zamperla has a different use for this, if this is the case. And my job is just to ask questions and get us all to think about the what ifs and trying to piece together everything with this ginormous project, because nothing really seems to make sense at the moment, and it's just creating even more fun with this Dragster project. And before I share my last thought with you, a huge shout out goes to Escape Designs and Casper Coaster Creator, who created this awesome imagery that you see here. Also, if you're planning on visiting a theme park or Cedar Point this summer, then you have to check out my Baby I'm Ready to Go t-shirt. This comes in white, red, and black, and you can find this in hoodies, tank tops, women's gear, kids t-shirts, and much more. I really appreciate all the support for this piece of merch as well as for the channel, and this is my personal favorite shirt that I've ever designed, and I wear it all the time. So with that being said, is Top Thrill Dragster behind schedule? And from my source, it is. Now, I do not know how far behind schedule, but all I know is it is indeed behind schedule. And I would predict it's about a month or so behind schedule, and I feel as if that might make or break opening day of 2024. It all depends on how nasty the winter will be this year up in Sandusky. Because again, weather is everything when it comes to these type of things. And if there's a lot of snow and really freezing cold days, then the work on the ride will be slowing down a little bit. So hopefully we can all hope that there's not going to be a crazy nasty winter up in Sandusky. That way all the workers on the ride will be able to complete this thing quicker, and hopefully we can all be riding it come opening day of 2024. So with all of that said, those are my updated thoughts and predictions, as well as about all the speculation around Dragster at the moment. Now that you know my thoughts, I want to know your thoughts. Do you think it's Intamin or Zamperla? What do you think about the new colors? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for riding Dragster 2.0 come 2024? With that being said, thank you so much for watching. Remember to smile today, think positive, and of course, keep riding coasters.